Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Made Easy. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm so excited you're here today. Whether you're listening while commuting to work, making breakfast, or studying at your desk, welcome. Today's episode is going to be incredibly practical because we're covering something that every English learner needs to master: how to talk about yourself. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Sarah, talking about myself? That sounds simple. But here's the truth. Introducing yourself and talking about who you are is actually one of the most important skills you'll ever develop in English. Think about it. When do you need this skill? Job interviews, meeting new friends, networking events, first dates, university applications, business meetings, even casual conversations at a coffee shop. The ability to confidently and clearly introduce yourself opens doors. It creates opportunities. It helps you make connections. And the best part? Once you learn the formulas and patterns we're going to cover today, you can use them again and again in countless situations. So today, we're going to break down everything you need to know about talking about yourself in English. We'll start with the basics, move to more advanced techniques, and by the end of this episode, you'll have a complete toolkit for any situation where someone asks, "So tell me about yourself." Are you ready? Let's dive in. Let's start with the foundation. Every conversation where you talk about yourself begins with a basic introduction. Think of this as your "hello, I exist" moment. It's usually the first 30 seconds to 1 minute of any interaction. The basic introduction typically includes 3 key elements: your name, where you're from, and what you do. Let's break down each one. This seems obvious, right? But there are actually several ways to introduce your name in English, and choosing the right one depends on the situation. In formal situations, you might say, "My name is Sarah Johnson." "I'm Sarah Johnson." "Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Sarah Johnson." In casual situations, you'd probably say, "Hi, I'm Sarah." "Hey, I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you." "Sarah, pleasure to meet you." Notice how the formal introductions use your full name, while casual ones often just use your first name? That's your first tip. Formality equals more complete information. Now, if you have a name that might be difficult for English speakers to pronounce, you have a few options. You can say your name slowly and clearly. "My name is Xiaowei. That's Xiaowei. Offer a pronunciation guide. "I'm Xiaowei. It's pronounced Xiaowei." Give a nickname option. "My name is Xiaowei, but you can call me Wei." There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a name that's unfamiliar to English speakers. Don't feel pressured to choose an English name unless you genuinely want one. Your name is part of your identity, and most people will appreciate you teaching them how to say it correctly. After your name, people usually want to know where you're from. Here are the most common patterns. "I'm from Tokyo, Japan." "I come from Seoul, South Korea." "I'm originally from Mumbai, but I currently live in London." "I was born in Mexico City, but I grew up in Guadalajara." That last example brings up an important point. If you've lived in multiple places, you can make your introduction more interesting by mentioning this. "I'm originally from São Paulo, Brazil, but I've been living in Toronto for the past 5 years." "I was born in Cairo, but my family moved to Dubai when I was 10, so I consider both places home." This kind of detail makes you more memorable and gives the other person something to ask questions about, which keeps the conversation flowing naturally. Now we come to what you do. This could be your job, your studies, or your main role in life. Here are the basic patterns. For work, "I'm a software engineer." "I work as a teacher." "I work in marketing." "I'm employed by a tech company called Startup Solutions." For studies, "I'm a student at Boston University." "I'm studying medicine." "I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in environmental science." For other situations, "I'm currently between jobs and looking for opportunities in graphic design." "I'm a stay-at-home parent." "I'm retired, but I used to work in finance." Notice the different structures here. "I'm a" is used when you're stating your profession directly. "I work as" and "I work in" are alternatives that sound slightly less direct. And "I'm studying" is specifically for students. Now let's combine all three elements into a complete basic introduction. Hi, I'm Sarah Johnson. I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I'm a podcast host and English teacher. Hello, my name is Carlos Mendez. I'm originally from Barcelona, Spain, but I've been living in London for the past 3 years. I work as a financial analyst. Hey, I'm Yuki. I'm from Osaka, Japan, and I'm currently studying computer science at UCLA. These introductions are clear, concise, and give the listener just enough information to continue the conversation. They're not too long, not too short. Perfect for most situations. Practice moment. Okay, now I want you to pause this podcast for a moment. Seriously, pause it, and I want you to say your basic introduction out loud. Include your name, where you're from, and what you do. Don't worry about being perfect, just practice saying it. This is how you build confidence and fluency. Ready? Pause now and practice. Welcome back. How did that feel? If it felt awkward, that's completely normal. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. So now you can give a basic introduction. Great. But here's the thing. Basic introductions are just that. Basic. They don't really tell people who you are. They're like the cover of a book, but not the interesting story inside. If you want to make a real impression, if you want people to remember you and feel connected to you, you need to add personality and detail. This is where talking about yourself becomes an art form. One of the easiest ways to add personality is to mention your interests or hobbies. This immediately makes you more three-dimensional and gives people common ground to connect with you. Here are some useful phrases. In my free time, I enjoy. I'm really passionate about. I'm really into. One of my favorite hobbies is. When I'm not working, you'll usually find me. I'm a big fan of. For example, I'm a software developer, and in my free time, I'm really passionate about photography. I love capturing street scenes and landscapes. I work in marketing, but when I'm not in the office, you'll usually find me hiking or rock climbing. I'm a big fan of outdoor adventures. Notice how these additions make the person more interesting. Now you know they're not just a software developer. They're someone who sees the world through a creative lens. They're not just a marketing professional. They're someone adventurous who loves nature. Another powerful way to add depth is to mention relevant experience or background information. This is especially important in professional situations. Useful phrases include, I have X years of experience in, I've worked in, for the past X years. Before this, I worked as, I started my career in, I've been doing this since. My background is in, for example, I'm a project manager with about 8 years of experience in the tech industry. I've worked for both startups and large corporations, which has given me a really diverse perspective. I'm currently a medical student, but before this, I worked as a nurse for 5 years. That clinical experience has been invaluable in my studies. This kind of information establishes credibility and gives others a sense of your journey. It tells a mini story about how you got to where you are now. People also connect with you when you share what you're working toward. It shows ambition, direction, and gives others a way to help or support you. Key phrases. I'm currently working toward. My goal is to. I'm hoping to. I'm in the process of. I'm planning to. I'd like to. Examples. I'm a graphic designer and I'm currently working towards starting my own design agency. That's my big goal for the next 2 years. I'm studying data science and I'm hoping to work in healthcare technology after I graduate. I'm really interested in how data can improve patient outcomes. Sharing your goals makes you relatable. Everyone has dreams and aspirations. When you share yours, you invite others to be part of your journey. Sometimes it's helpful to describe your own personality, especially in situations like job interviews where cultural fit matters, or in social situations where you want people to understand how to interact with you. Useful phrases, I would describe myself as. People often say I'm the kind of person who, I tend to be, I consider myself. Examples, I would describe myself as detail-oriented and creative. I love solving problems and coming up with innovative solutions. I'm the kind of person who really values teamwork and collaboration. I believe the best ideas come from diverse perspectives. People often say I'm a good listener. I think that's because I genuinely enjoy learning from others' experiences. When describing your personality, try to use positive traits. Choose traits that are relevant to the situation. Be genuine. Don't claim to be something you're not. Back it up with examples when possible. Now let's see what happens when we take our basic introduction and add these personality elements. Basic version. Hi, I'm Maria. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I'm a software engineer. Enhanced version. Hi, I'm Maria. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I'm a software engineer with about 6 years of experience, mostly in fintech companies. I'm really passionate about using technology to solve real-world problems, and I'm currently learning machine learning because I'd love to work on AI projects in the future. Outside of work, I'm a huge salsa dancer. I perform with a local dance group on weekends. I guess you could say I'm someone who likes to balance the logical side of my brain with creative expression. Can you feel the difference? The enhanced version tells you so much more about who Maria is as a person. You can imagine her. You can connect with her. You might even think, oh, I love dancing too. Or, I'm also interested in machine learning. This is the power of adding detail and personality to your self-introduction. Now, here's something crucial that many English learners don't realize. How you talk about yourself should change depending on the situation. The introduction you give at a job interview should be different from what you say at a party, which should be different from what you share on a first date. Let's explore how to adapt your self-introduction for different contexts. The job interview introduction. In a job interview, when someone says, "Tell me about yourself," they're really asking, "Why should we hire you?" Your introduction should be professional, focused on your qualifications, and relevant to the position. Structure for job interviews. Brief personal background. Professional experience and key achievements. Why are you interested in this position? What value can you bring? Example. My name is David Chen, and I'm a digital marketing specialist with 7 years of experience in the e-commerce industry. I started my career at a small startup where I wore many hats, which taught me to be versatile and strategic. In my most recent role at tech retail, I led a team that increased our online conversion rate by 35% through targeted social media campaigns and A/B testing. I'm excited about this opportunity at your company because I've been following your brand's growth, and I'm impressed by your customer-first approach. I believe my experience in data-driven marketing and my passion for understanding consumer behavior would allow me to contribute meaningfully to your team's goals. Notice what this includes. Specific numbers and achievements, 35% increase. Relevant experience. Knowledge of the company. Clear value proposition. And notice what it doesn't include. Personal hobbies, unless they're relevant. Irrelevant work history. Anything negative about past employers. Overly personal information. At networking events, your goal is different. You want to be memorable, create opportunities for conversation, and find potential collaborators or contacts. Your introduction should be friendly, interesting, and include a conversational hook. Example. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a freelance content writer specializing in the tech industry. I actually used to be a software developer, but I discovered I loved explaining complex technical concepts in simple terms more than writing code. So now I help tech companies create blog posts, white papers, and case studies that actually make sense to non-technical readers. What brings you to this event? This introduction is conversational in tone, includes an interesting personal story, clearly states what you do, ends with a question to continue the conversation, gives others multiple things they could ask about. The social casual introduction. In social situations, parties, casual meetups, hobby groups, you want to be warm, approachable, and show your personality. Professional details take a backseat to personal interests. Example. Hey, I'm Alex. I work in finance, but honestly, that's the boring part. The exciting part is that I'm training for my first marathon right now. It's been absolutely brutal, but so rewarding. I'm also really into cooking, especially Thai food. I've been taking cooking classes and driving my friend crazy by making them try all my experiments. How about you? What are you passionate about? This introduction mentions work briefly without dwelling on it, emphasizes hobbies and interests, shows enthusiasm and personality, invites the other person to share, is relatable and warm. The academic conference introduction. In academic settings, you want to establish credibility while remaining approachable. Focus on your research, field of study, and academic interests. Example: hello, I'm Dr. Priya Sharma. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at MIT, working in the field of renewable energy. Specifically, my research focuses on improving the efficiency of solar cells using nanomaterials. I completed my PhD at Stanford, where I worked on similar projects. I'm here at this conference because I'm particularly interested in learning about the latest developments in energy storage, which is something I'm considering for future research directions. Have you been to this conference before? This introduction establishes credentials, explains research clearly, shows why you're at the event, invites conversation. The online introduction, dating apps, social media, forums. Online introductions need to be concise, authentic, and attention-grabbing, since people are often scrolling quickly. Example: I'm Marcus, a high school teacher by day and aspiring novelist by night. I love hiking, trying new restaurants, and having deep conversations about everything from philosophy to Marvel movies. Looking for someone who appreciates both adventure and lazy Sunday mornings with good coffee. This works because it's concise, shows personality immediately, mentions multiple interests, creating connection points, suggests what you're looking for, balances humor with sincerity. Key principle: read the room. The ultimate skill is learning to read the room, to sense what kind of introduction is appropriate for each situation. Ask yourself, what's the purpose of this interaction? What does the other person need to know about me? What impression do I want to make? How formal or casual is this setting? Your answers will guide you to the right version of your introduction. Yeah, Dad. Now that we've covered how to talk about yourself effectively, let's address some common mistakes that English learners make. Being aware of these will help you avoid them and sound more natural. Mistake number 1: giving too much information too soon. Some learners eager to practice their English or nervous about silence will launch into their entire life story within the first minute. This can be overwhelming for the listener. Poor example: hi, I'm Tom. I'm from Germany. I was born in Berlin, but when I was 5, my family moved to Munich. I went to elementary school there and then high school, and I was really good at math but not so good at languages, ironically. And then I went to university and studied engineering, but I didn't like it, so I switched to business and... You can see how exhausting this is, right? The listener doesn't know what to focus on or where to jump into the conversation. Better approach: start with the essentials, then let the conversation flow naturally. Answer questions as they come up. It's okay to have information in reserve that you share gradually. Mistake number 2: being too vague or generic. On the opposite end, some learners are so cautious that they give cookie-cutter introductions that don't say anything meaningful about who they are. Poor example: I'm a normal person. I like normal things. I work in a company. I enjoy spending time with friends and family. This tells us nothing. What makes you unique? What specifically do you do? Better approach: include at least one specific detail that makes you memorable. Instead of, I like normal things, say, I'm really into vintage vinyl records, or I love baking sourdough bread. Mistake number 3: using overly formal language in casual situations. Many English learners learn formal business English first, then use that same register in every situation, even casual ones. Awkward example, at a party. Good evening, I am pleased to make your acquaintance. My name is Anna Kowalski, and I am currently employed in the capacity of a marketing coordinator for a medium-sized enterprise. This would sound very strange at a casual party. Better approach: hey, I'm Anna. I work in marketing. What about you? Save the formal language for formal situations. In casual settings, use contractions, I've, don't, and simpler sentence structures. Mistake number 4, apologizing for your English. Many learners start their introduction by saying something like, "Sorry, my English is not very good," or "I apologize if I make mistakes." While this comes from politeness and humility, it actually draws attention to potential mistakes, makes the other person uncomfortable, undermines your confidence, starts the conversation on a negative note. Better approach: just speak. Most people are impressed that you're communicating in a second or third or fourth language. They're not expecting perfection. If you don't understand something, simply say, "Could you repeat that?" Or, "I'm not familiar with that expression." Mistake number 5, neglecting body language and tone. This is a big one. Talking about yourself isn't just about the words you use, it's also about how you say them. Common issues: speaking in a monotone voice, not making eye contact, closed body language, speaking too quietly or too quickly. Better approach: smile when appropriate. Make comfortable eye contact. Stand or sit with an open, confident posture. Vary your tone to show enthusiasm. Speak clearly at a moderate pace. Use natural hand gestures. Remember, communication is at least 50% nonverbal. You can say all the right words, but if your body language and tone don't match, people will notice something's off. Mistake number 6, comparing yourself negatively. Some learners, out of modesty, will put themselves down while introducing themselves. "I'm just a student. I only work in a small company. I'm not very good at my job, but..." This false modesty doesn't come across well in English-speaking cultures, where confidence, without arrogance, is valued. Better approach: state facts neutrally or positively. "I'm a student studying economics. I work for a boutique consulting firm. I'm developing my skills in project management." You can be humble without diminishing yourself. Now let's bring everything together with some practice scenarios. I'm going to describe different situations and then give you an example introduction for each. I want you to think about how you would adapt these for your own life. Scenario 1, first day at a new job. You're starting a new job, and your manager has asked you to introduce yourself to the team during the morning meeting. Example: "Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Kim, and I'm really excited to join the team as the new UX designer. I have about 5 years of experience in UX, most recently at a fintech startup where I led the redesign of their mobile app. I'm passionate about creating intuitive, user-centered designs, and I'm looking forward to learning about your products and bringing fresh ideas to the team. Outside of work, I'm a pretty serious coffee enthusiast. I've been learning about coffee roasting lately, so if anyone wants to chat about beans or brewing methods, I'm your person. I'm also always up for lunch recommendations around here since I'm new to the neighborhood. Feel free to reach out if you need anything from me or if you just want to chat. Thanks." Why this works: professional but friendly. Establishes credentials without bragging. Shows personality. Invites connection. Ends on a warm note. Scenario 2, speed networking event. You have exactly 60 seconds to introduce yourself to someone at a professional networking event. Example: "Hi, I'm James Rodriguez. I'm a data scientist specializing in machine learning applications for healthcare. I work with hospitals to predict patient readmission rates, which helps them provide better follow-up care and reduce costs. Before this, I was in finance, but I wanted to do work that had more social impact. I'm at this event because I'm interested in connecting with others in the health tech space, especially people working on preventative care solutions. What's your focus?" Why this works, brief and punchy. Clearly explains what you do and why it matters. Includes a personal motivation. States networking goal. Ends with an opening for the other person. Scenario 3, meeting your partner's parents. You're meeting your significant other's parents for the first time over dinner. Example: "It's wonderful to finally meet you both. I'm Emily. Your daughter and I met at work about a year ago, and I have to say, she's been one of the best things to happen in my life. I work as a teacher at Lincoln High School. I teach English and creative writing. I grew up in Oregon, but I've been here in Chicago for about 6 years now. I absolutely love this city. When I'm not teaching, I'm usually reading, exploring new restaurants, or convincing your daughter to go hiking with me, which she always pretends to resist, but then has a great time. She's told me so much about you both, and I'm really grateful to be here tonight. Why this works: warm and respectful tone, compliments their child naturally, shares relevant personal information, shows shared interests and values, expresses gratitude for the meeting. Scenario 4, introducing yourself in an online course. You're taking an online course and need to post a written introduction in the discussion forum. Example: hello everyone, I'm Hiroshi from Kyoto, Japan. I'm taking this course on sustainable urban planning because I work for the city government in the environmental department, and I'm trying to develop better strategies for reducing our carbon footprint. I have a background in civil engineering, but I realized that technical solutions aren't enough. We also need good policy and community engagement. I'm hoping to learn from all of you and hear about different approaches from around the world. In my free time, I'm really into cycling, which fits my environmental values. And I'm learning to play the guitar, though my neighbors might wish I wasn't. Looking forward to connecting with you throughout this course. Why this works: explains why you're taking the course, gives relevant background, shows openness to learning from others, includes personality touches, friendly and approachable tone. Scenario 5, elevator pitch, 30 seconds with a potential investor. You run into a potential investor in an elevator and have just 30 seconds. Example: hi, I'm Laura Chen. I founded EduTrack, an AI-powered platform that helps teachers personalize learning plans for students with learning disabilities. We've been piloting in 15 schools with amazing results. Students are showing 40% faster progress compared to traditional methods. We're currently raising our seed round to expand to 100 schools by next year. I'd love to send you our deck if you're interested in EdTech investments. Why this works immediately states what you do, includes impressive metrics, shows traction and growth potential, makes a clear ask, professional and confident. Scenario 6, making friends while traveling. You're at a hostel common area and someone asks where you're from. Example: I'm Sophia from Buenos Aires. I'm doing a 3-month solo backpacking trip through Southeast Asia. This is actually my first time traveling alone, and it's been incredible so far. I'm a graphic designer back home, but I'm taking a career break to figure out what I want to do next. Maybe freelance, maybe start my own studio. I'm not sure yet. But that's what this trip is about: getting some clarity and having adventures. I've been here in Bangkok for a week, and I'm completely in love with the street food. Are you traveling solo too? Why this works: casual and open, shares the journey and vulnerability, creates multiple conversation threads, shows enthusiasm, invites reciprocation. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about something that goes beyond words and phrases: confidence. Because here's the truth: you can memorize every phrase in this podcast, but if you don't feel confident saying them, they won't land the way they should. Why confidence matters. When you talk about yourself with confidence, several things happen. People trust you more. They remember you better. They feel more comfortable around you. Opportunities open up more easily. You actually enjoy interactions more. Confidence isn't about thinking you're perfect. It's about being comfortable with who you are and believing that you have value to offer in any conversation. Here are practical strategies. Strategy 1, prepare and practice. Write out your introduction for different scenarios. Practice saying it out loud, not just in your head. Record yourself and listen back. Practice in front of a mirror. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Strategy 2, focus on your strengths. Make a list of your accomplishments, skills, and positive qualities. Review this list regularly. When you know your value, it's easier to communicate it to others. Strategy 3, start small. If talking about yourself feels uncomfortable, start with low-stakes situations. Practice with friends, family, or online communities. Build up to more intimidating situations like job interviews or important networking events. Strategy 4, reframe nervousness as excitement. Research shows that nervousness and excitement create similar physical sensations. Instead of telling yourself, I'm nervous, try saying, I'm excited. This simple mental shift can change your experience. Strategy 5. Remember that everyone feels this way. You're not alone in finding this challenging. Even native English speakers get nervous about interviews and meeting new people. The person you're talking to is probably just as worried about making a good impression as you are. Strategy 6. Focus on connection, not perfection. Your goal isn't to give a flawless performance, it's to connect with another human being. People respond to authenticity, not perfection. A genuine introduction with a small grammar mistake is better than a perfect but robotic one. Here's something I want you to remember. Talking about yourself is not bragging. It's not selfish. It's not showing off. It's simply giving others the information they need to understand who you are and how to interact with you. You're not demanding attention. You're facilitating connection. That's a generous thing to do. We've covered so much ground today. Let's recap the key points. Start with the basics. Name, origin, and occupation form your foundation. Add personality. Include hobbies, interests, goals, and personal traits to make yourself memorable. Adapt to context. Change your introduction based on whether you're in a professional, social, or academic setting. Avoid common mistakes. Don't overshare, don't be too vague, match your formality to the situation, and never apologize for your English. Practice different scenarios. Prepare versions of your introduction for various situations. Build confidence. Remember that confidence comes from preparation and self-acceptance. Here's what I want you to do after this episode. Write out 3 versions of your introduction. 1 professional, 1 casual, and 1 for a specific situation you know is coming up. Practice each one out loud at least 5 times. Record yourself and listen back. Notice what sounds good and what you want to improve. Use your introduction this week in a real situation. Reflect on how it went and adjust as needed. Remember, learning to talk about yourself in English is a skill like any other. It gets better with practice. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. And keep putting yourself out there. Before we go, I want to say this. Your story matters. Your experiences, your perspective, your journey, they're all valuable. When you talk about yourself, you're not just filling silence or meeting a social obligation. You're letting others know you, and that's how relationships, opportunities, and communities are built. So embrace the chance to introduce yourself. Do it with pride. Do it with authenticity. And watch how doors begin to open. Thank you so much for joining me today on English Made Easy. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with other English learners in your life. And if you have questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, leave a comment or send me a message. Until next time, keep practicing, keep improving, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. This is Sarah, signing off. Happy learning.